thing on, I gotta put my bifocals on.
Hmm.
They printed quite small here.
They did. yes.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Kara, you got the floor.
Okay, great. So just want to provide a couple of quick updates on, some of our goals here. So the first goal is listed here with, formalizing the change management program. We're a little off track on that one at the beginning of the year, but we've gotten that back. We're getting back on track with that. We've developed several templates for communication to standardize the communications that we send on a regular basis regarding service outages or other things that we're doing that impact large numbers of people. And we're, I'm going to be presenting that at the department head meeting next week. We're also working, because we have a lot of projects going on, we're working on how we best develop those same tools for the project management, for our project management team as well. So we've made some good headway on that. With regards to working on our key performance indicators, we're on track with that, but I don't have any specific updates on that one today. That would be forthcoming towards the end of this year. The next item that we have on our list is the campus master plan, which has been very time consuming for our team. That's probably it's a large percentage of my time as well as several others on my team. So it's a pretty big goal for us. A couple of the projects that we've got going on or complete are we've added the elevator this, as I think you all know. Our fuel island is relocating in August. And we are Scott's gonna be presenting the 90% documents for the construction project we're working on for the campus. That's going to go out for bid in June, and we're looking to start construction in the fall. So that's gonna be a little over a year project to start from start to finish. So gonna take a lot of our time and effort over the next year and a half. The next goal is building automation plan. And that's actually been rolled in with the construction project. Well, we have everything ripped out. It's the perfect time to start making some of those changes. We're upgrading our building control system and some control hardware so that we can start adding some of the latest and greatest features to help improve our control over the buildings, as well as provide some more energy efficiencies and reporting on some of those efficiencies as well. And then the last goal that we have is a safety team goal. We've not had a safety team in place in our department, but safety is a very big concern for our staff. We're happy to say that we're over 800 days without a lost time work incident within our group, which is a pretty big challenge. It's not fun with. Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing for us. And we put a lot of effort on it. All of my full-time employees have done a 10-hour OSHA training class. And we're working on creating some more training programs. That's what they're actively working on right now is making sure that we've got all of the basic training that we want all of our full-time staff as well as our seasonal staff doing on an annual basis. They'll also be working on some additional goals to be defined, but they haven't gotten to that point. The team is about 6 weeks in right now. So anyway, any questions I can answer on any of those goals?
I do have, and it's very minor, but I noticed on the plans, master plan, you had Potter and Watson on there yet?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
like the original language, and certainly we
Yeah.
moved on from them. But I saw that on the, because there's just a little blurb. There's actually more detail under each of these goals in our system. But it just prints that front one, and it does it for that one, but not for all of them. So yeah, I'll try to take that out for you.
No, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I guess I just happened to notice that the architect is different, but. And are you, look, you said the OSHA 10, right?
Yeah,
Now, you follow like DPW stuff then too? I mean, do some of the guys have 30 and all that stuff throughout the field, or is it a whole different safety program for like Kara's group of guys for this? Okay,
so, yeah,
kind of like us too, with power division versus the vertical building is obviously we have a
Right.
lot of high, high power stuff, so.
right. For most, with safety for most of my guys, it's a lot of keeping it front of mind as opposed to like, they've got this training and now they're all like out there doing, they're all safe now.
Sure.
It's a repeatable sort of program because you get kind of lackadaisical about it. And you
Right.
start falling into old habits, so it's about keeping it fresh.
You have to try to make it fun, so.
Yeah.
Exactly, well, congratulations on the 800 days.
Yeah, thanks,
Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, we're good, thank you.
great, thanks.
Moving on to transit ridership report. And the first thing that pops up to me is, hey, the ridership's going up a little bit, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Like I said, I was kind of curious, because we raised the rates, right? We thought it would drop off, but we weren't sure. Now seeing them come back up, I'm wondering if some of the adults are riding more, if that's helping our, our cash flow, I guess, if people help.
It definitely looks like agency moving compared to last year, 24. I have the advent of trips based on the fare category, so it looks like the increase was there's an increase in elderly. The agency fares, let's see, those are about the same. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like it's a kind of a blend of ridership there, it's not just one,
Yeah, if you look in the upper right hand corner, it does break it down by the different categories of adult agency and stuff, so. Unfortunately, the adult is going the opposite direction in April, going down.
Yeah, so. The overall ridership is still up though, and it's good to see that they're utilizing the service. Is there any, what else you wanted to cover?
see here. The total cost was higher in April, that was because of the higher build hours, but also because there's an annual audit. And so that was priced to as a cost to transit. But they also vehicles were auctioned off, and so the preparation of those vehicles to be auctioned is a price as well.
Gotcha. Any other questions on that? Oh,
Sure, but that same spreadsheet in the upper right hand corner, there's a lot of information on there. But I think one thing to point out is the number of individuals, not just riders, but in the far upper right corner. We have 519, 534, 561, 578, so that number isn't increasing as well. So just advertising could impact it a little bit. It could just be we're getting close to summer and people are outside working and moving about a little bit more than normal, so. So we're definitely keeping an eye on, we're glad it's going in that direction.
It'll be interesting to see where we are budget wise with the whole thing and which direction we want to go moving forward. Still no questions from the crowd? Still be a quick meeting the way it's going here. We're good, thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, master plan update. That's the 20 pages. I don't even think I need my glasses for that, 'cause I can blow it up pretty big. Scott, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last,
Did we-
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last meeting, there's been several significant updates and changes to the master plan that I feel it was time to bring this update back to the committee to look at. The biggest change was that you may recall that inside the new eastern entrance, we're gonna have a hallway to what is called the jury selection room to allow voting within the building. We had a meeting, staff led with the county attorney, the judges, the clerk of courts, Kara was there as well, to look at what that would mean. Brad Stern, our county attorney, wrote an opinion that he did not believe that that would be an allowable use within the Justice Center, because of allowing people to go into the Justice Center without going through security. It's also very important to the clerk that people didn't want to go through security to go involved. I think that would be a detriment to that, and definitely everybody agreed in that room that that would not be in the best interest of the voting public to have to go through security. Also, the fact is that then you'd have basically security guards on both sides while you're going to vote, that somebody could also be intimidated by that as well. So at the building committee meeting, then it was determined not to utilize the building for voting anymore. The clerk is well aware of that. She did work with the city clerk to make sure that they were aware of that before the agenda packet hit the paper, so to speak. And we'll be working with the city to find a suitable voting location. The good thing is we've got lots of time between now and the next voting cycle to make that happen. So we'll appreciate everybody's efforts and time, including the judges, the county attorney, the county clerk, and clerk of courts to actually look at that and make that determination, as well as the building committee to take the county attorney's recommendation and go with that. So that's a major change from last time, and I want to make sure that this group was well aware of that change. We then, all the last building committee meeting, had a closed session, talk about security throughout the whole building, including the Justice Center and this building. And I think that went very well. Can't get into specific with this closed session, but needless to say, we are including our county sheriff in on those security discussions. From day one, we have been, and so we've got a really good feel for what we're looking at as far as building and security is concerned. With that, we did make some minor changes and recommendations to some of the areas. We're still finalizing those from the 60% plans to 90% plans. And as the 90% plan goes next week, Thursday, excuse me, let me back up a step. Next week, Monday, the building committee is going to meet again, go through those 90% plans in great detail. And if you have any comments on those, we certainly welcome to incorporate those as well. But you're welcome to attend that meeting. We're going to go through them in a little bit more detail than today. And then next week, Thursday, I believe it is, then we're doing what's called the page turn meeting, where you go page by page, line by line, looking at everything we can with the architect and the electrical and mechanical and everyone else that's involved in the project. The sheriff will be there, or at least his designee will be there. We'll talk about security and stuff. So trying to find everything we can in that plan. As you know, if it's in the bid pack, it's a lot easier, and later on with a change order. Costs tend to be a little bit higher than when we actually bid something out. So hopefully with more eyes on it, that we catch some of those things and detail. But we certainly welcome the committee to look through those. There really hasn't been any wholesale changes to that. There's a phasing plan in there. And that's one thing the committee will go through too, that we got to do one thing first, create the new clinic first, and then move the clinic, and then demo that area, and then move the clerk and register deeds and treasurer. So the phasing plan going through. We are looking at bidding it out this June, with bids being back due July 1st. And then having a mandatory pre-bid meeting where we walk all the contractors through those locations on June 11th, I believe that is. And then using the month of July to get the contract settled in and all that good fun stuff. And hopefully starting in August was construction. Looking at about a 15 to 16 months period, 3 phases, about 5 months each, so about 15 again to 16 months, completed in roughly November of 2026. By doing that, it gives us a chance to move that last phase, the people in the last phase, especially the natural resources from across the street over. Hopefully weather will be terrible by that point, as well as before the end of the year, whether we're taking vacations and off, and we got Thanksgiving and the holidays, as well as the contractors themselves from that mid-November tend to usually head up north. So we might get them done before that time period happens as well. So the schedule is looking pretty good right now. Our architectural firm, again, at that page turn, will be looking at that one more time, doing a lot of the exterior work in this year yet. So that the new parking lot will be ready for when the clerk and register deeds move roughly in January or so of 2026. The outside work will be done and ready for that to go. And even that outside work have a little bit of phasing to it to make sure people can always get into the buildings. That's very important. The phasing plan is so that we're going to try to, the building will stay open during the whole thing. There will be no hopefully disruption of services during that time. There will be electricity or heat or anything like that. It will be noisy in the building, throughout the whole building. Regardless of where sweet you are, you will hear noise. There's a lot of concrete in this building that needs to be either attached to or be drilled through and stuff like that. So we're looking forward to it, and staff is really excited about this. And even the departments that we're meeting with, you can just tell by we're getting into those real minor details of file cabinets and door locks and windows and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be pretty exciting around here. I think a lot of them are really looking forward to November of 2026. Maybe not before that, but definitely that time period going forward. So certainly the building plans are in there. If you have any comments, we certainly like to hear them and see how they can be addressed and work with our architect team to see what we can make happen for you. With that, I certainly can answer any questions that you may have.
So just, just to confirm, you said, so you're looking at moving because I've worked this district myself here in voting. You're saying moving the vote, where the voting district that comes here, moving it to another facility somewhere?
Yes, yes. I see Ashley perked up a little bit. She may have more information on it than I currently have. We just haven't had a chance to communicate on that recently.
District 5 goes across the street, but
So in talking brief discussions with the clerk, she was already kind of aware that some sort of changes would be happening. I let her know that we would offer any available space that we do have on county property and would be more than willing to walk her through those spaces. I think even highway department had come up as a potential option, and that we would walk through with her and the mayor, because as of right now, they don't have an administrator. And then just talking about other options in the area. There's not many, but I think this is the perfect time for them to start looking at options. They have time to be able to share that with residents so that it's not something that's happening last minute.
And the next possible election is
February of next year is the next potential election. Obviously, it's only if we have enough to pause the primary, otherwise it's April of 26.
so there is time. But we are starting now.
Right.
Yeah.
When does the construction start again? You said it's going out for bid this.
Correct. The bids are due back July 1st.
Oh, July.
Then it's just a matter of getting the contract finalized and then obviously having a pre-bid meeting with the contractor. And then make sure they can order the materials and get all the schedules lined up and stuff. So generally speaking, about 30 to 45 days before construction starts. So could be as early as August, but most likely sometime in the month of August.
Okay. That's coming quick.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for that. Now we'll move on to lead lateral update. And I saw all the calculations, I got it down there though.
Yeah, it's a ways down.
It's a ways down. Oh, there we go. Anytime you're ready, say
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Some exciting news in the world of lead laterals, that the city of Hartford has passed their resolution. The county attorney, I appreciate them getting the memorandum of understanding completed. And they're now well on the way to actually replacing some of the lead laterals inside the city of Hartford. The second page or excuse me, third page technically, it did show relatively small, does show what the city of Hartford is looking at accomplishing in the first 2 years of this cycle and utilizing ARPA funds. They're looking at completing roughly 9 lead laterals in 2025 and 14 in 2026. So that's a great start. Also attached is the city of Hartford has done a fantastic job of creating called a long-term plan for the lead lateral replacement. That's the last page in that particular report. And so we are looking at that, what that allows us to do, and the city of West Bend is hopefully working on theirs as well, is to help you at budget time to look at what that looks like going forward and see what that issue or concern is and how many are out there and what the cost would be to actually get those replaced. We are still watching the federal government and state government for any opportunities that might arise for lead laterals. Remember the previous administration at the federal level put certain restrictions on those funds that were out there. And we're still hopeful that the current administration now will maybe make some changes to those programs going forward. We're very appreciative to have Hartford on board. They are very appreciative for the program as well. And so we're going to be moving relatively quickly on that as they complete their project. But happy to see a very detailed report from them that they're willing to share. We are working on a dashboard as well, as you saw in your strategic priority document last night. Our GIS department, again, second to none, is ready, started kicking that off, ready to show the ones that were completed, ones we have yet to do, and start working on that as well. So that'll be out there for the public to see as well as the county board to see what the issues are done and how many you've tackled already. You may recall that Kewausee was done and now lead free from our previous reports. The village of Slinger was also awarded a grant, and they found unfortunately some more lead laterals than what they originally anticipated. But we have the funds to do that with the contingency money we set aside. Pleased to note that once the frost broke, they did complete 2 laterals, and they may have done more since the last time I touched base with them several weeks ago. And they actually requested the reimbursement already for those 2 laterals, so they're well on their way. They've got a contractor under contract to do those this year, so they are hoping to complete them all this calendar year. As you imagine, when you're working on private and public side, it does take a little bit of time to sometimes convince the private landowner to allow them onto their land and into your house, because they do have to go into your house to actually make these connections. So that can be sometimes a longer process than what you think it might be, but we're appreciative to the village of Slingers out there putting out the effort to do this. And I know since we have our shop in Slinger, we did get a letter too, so they are not just relying on some of their older data, but actively searching for more to see if there are anywhere out there while this grant is still available, and they've got their contractor under contract. So I give them credit for not just saying, yep, we've got data, we're good to go, but actually actively trying to look and find more if there are more within the village to again eliminate those. And once these are completed, hopefully this year again, the village of Slinger will be then completed, and you'll have both the village of Kiosk and Slinger and their blood dialysis complete. The City of West Bend, and we're very thankful for them to actually work on the project last year already, and pleased to see they actually submitted reimbursement earlier this year. You might have seen the news release or press release or Facebook posting on that. So they get reimbursed already about $157,600 for these lead laterals that were replaced within the City of West Bend, and they continue to do more this calendar year. So we're very appreciative they're moving forward on their projects, and look forward to working with them in the future. With that, certainly if there's any questions you may have, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Scott, I had a question. So with regard on these private side laterals, just to be clear, on that. So when those are replaced, is there a cost to the homeowner on that at all?
Correct, there's no cost to the homeowner. What we did was when the grant was set up, we set aside roughly $5,000 per private side lead lateral, kind of as an estimate. But what the grant agreement says is whatever the cost is, that's what we will pay. So you can imagine that if a individual, I'm gonna pick on the village of Kiosk, and so if the individual had a sidewalk in front of the house, needed the sidewalk replaced, that was included. If we had a tree that was removed and wanted the tree replaced, that was included.
That's
The landscaping, or if you're in your basement's finished and they gotta cut out some drywall, that's included.
It is.
So there should be no cost to the landowner besides maybe some time that they have to be present when the work is complete. So if they have to take off of work, if that happens, that would be a land expense to the property.
Access to the house, right?
Right, they have to have access to the house to get in to do the work inside, because the lead lateral goes only inside the house, usually to your water meter inside. And so you'll see there's a section of pipe that comes to your basement floor or through your wall, a couple feet long maybe, and your meter, and then usually copper once you get past that. So yes, there should be no cost to the landowners. That's not to say they might not do something themselves and paint themselves or do something, or landscape and water their grass. But other than that, there should be very minimal cost to any landowner.
Then another question, as crazy as that might sound, I mean, this is optional, right? Like if somebody want to have their lead lateral.
Correct, and I, I've just kind of anecdotally talked to Village Slinger, some of their problems that, kind of, is it too good to be true, and why you kind of, you're
Just
free.
people that don't want to.
There are people that don't want you,
right?
they don't want you in their houses.
Okay.
So if they don't, there's nothing they can do about that currently. The City of West Bend actually passed the ordinance where that was not the case.
It's not an option.
It's a little controversial, and we'll leave it at that. And so, but the Village of Slinger, I was hoping for more of a compliance, voluntary compliance than a forced compliance.
So there have been cases where someone does not want the private side. The lateral replaced.
I haven't been told that specifically. I know
Okay.
they had some issues with some landlords, but I don't know if they come around or if they're still holding up. I don't know the answer to that. And that's in Slinger. Q Austin was 100% completed, that everybody that was asked, was wanting their lead lateral removed.
Yeah.
And I have not asked the city of West Bend how.
Which you would guess not, I'm just asking, there are people that have,
I would imagine that.
thing or they don't.
Correct, if you have 600 residents in the city of West Bend, there's a chance that someone will say no.
Okay.
Okay, if the city wants to pursue that, that'll be on them, we will not be forcing them.
Okay,
The county won't.
right, correct. Right, which is where And our individual cat.
It's interesting you even think that somebody would want it replaced.
I mean, you have people, whether it's a personal property thing or they want someone coming into their home or something like that, I mean, yeah, this is still American, man, and
This
this
is
is
how-
just in case it comes up, it's a, you know, as a question.
Sure. Yeah, kind of a wild question, but you ever run into like those old basements, that are old barn wall type basements where they start drilling a hole or something and they start collapsing on them or?
I've not been out there personally, but I would imagine all of these homes are the older part of the
Oh,
city,
sure.
especially West Bend that we're getting to right now. Imagine Sixth Avenue, Seventh Avenue, Eighth, you know, those,
Mhm.
where some of those closer to 33 or, 100 years older, give or take, so I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah,
But I just haven't been out to the site to see them.
I would be one of those in Slinger for a while,
Right.
the big old barn walls, so. Any other questions? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to our one resolution today, 2025 resolution, Town of Farmington Culvert and Bridge Aid. I need a motion, second. Motion from Supervisor Graf. It's motion from, second from Supervisor McCoolick. Don't fight over it. This is probably standard stuff, but Scott, you got the floor again.
Yes, pretty standard is a little bit of thing here that I want to point at that second paragraph in the report that the town of Farmington did submit their first request back in June of 2023. At the time they submitted, we actually didn't have any money in the funds. We had to wait for the next budget cycle for 24-25 budget cycle. I intend to bring that back to committee after the November of 2023 when the new budget was passed, and I failed to do so. And I apologize to this committee and as well as the town of Farmington for that. I have talked to their town chairman, who's also county board supervisor. He's understanding of what had happened. And they then passed another resolution. It turns out that they would have had to pass another resolution anyway because the project cost exceeded the original estimate back from 2023. No harm, no foul realistically, but they're looking at having a grand total of $23,823.88 from the Road and Bridge Aid Fund. The current fund sits at just over $50,000. That does start to deplete it a little bit more. We actually just did have a request come in from the town of Barton. So we are now going to be again over the dollar amount, the second kind of budget cycle again. We will again beforehand contact all the towns, ask them what projects they think they're going to have, and then set the dollar amount accordingly. As you can imagine, we don't want to overtax people either. We don't want to ask for $500,000 and have $500,000 sitting in the account that the taxpayers have a fund and not actually have a project for them. On the other side, we've been on the other side now where we unfortunately did not have, and this year again, a lot of the funds to actually completely fund the town's requests. So hopefully with the state of Wisconsin is last year did an inventory, every municipality inventory, every structure that's less than 20 feet. So it's greater than 6 feet, less than 20 feet, added an inventory. Washington County, with our GS department, again, I give them all the props, created an app. We've got 3 townships that took advantage of that, went out there, inspected their own culverts with our app, with the GPS, they can actually do that. We hold the data for them. You can imagine sometimes towns have turnover, they don't know where the data went. They don't have a mapping application and go out there, we can actually, our GIS is every culvert's, think about the scale from 1 that have 10 meters brand new, 1 means it's probably not even really there anymore. And we can then do a map of show me all your culverts that are 3 or less. And where are they? What type are they? How long are they? All that information you can get right from our GIS, so they can actually plan their budgets now this year better. And that goes offered to every town, city or village in the county. So we're hoping that by them doing that inventory, they can see what's coming for the next 2 years, help them plan, which helps us plan and helps you at budget time figure out the right dollar amount. We were and have been traditionally doing 100,000 per year.
I was just gonna ask about that, yeah.
Yep, giving 100,000 per year, so
A year, right?
200,000 for the 2-year budget cycle that you're in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when we did the budget amendment, when you did the budget amendment earlier, whenever that was back in November, December,
Yeah.
we didn't ask for any additional funds because at that time we didn't have any requests. And now that summer's here in spring, now the requests are coming back again. So, so you might see a little bit higher number than normal, but I will have the data and numbers to back up the higher number if that's what it is,
Based on what they're looking.
based on what they're looking for, and what their requests are. And then if you, as a body, want to increase it because of what's been happening the last 4 years, that'll be your purview to do. But again, it's taxing people for the product we may or may not have, so we try to be as prudent with those funds as we can. But understand that the last 2 budget cycles, we have, unfortunately not be able to fill all the requests. And again, last time and this time, so, but getting back to this one, this is the town of Farmington, the bridge is complete, so there won't be an additional added cost on this one if this is approved by this body and eventually becoming board. But it's a typical project that we have done in the past.
For what it's worth, does this thing fall for both new and replacement culverts? Or is it just for replacement culverts?
Replacements, so let's just say there was a new subdivision in the town of Barton, for instance. The developer does not get road and bridge aid from a new culvert and development.
What about an existing road though?
Existing road, correct, yes, if they're
New culvert and existing.
new culvert, existing road, correct, yes,
Okay, because so the town of West Bend might be coming to you then. It
okay,
was on your list.
yeah, it's gotta be bigger, bigger.
That I don't know.
That's, I'm just,
Diameter.
it's
Okay,
3-foot diameter or larger.
they might make it 3.5 just to cover it. Any other questions on this?
And there's about 27 grand then, after this left in that fund then, Scott, is that what would be left?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. No, so there's 50,000, you're using 23, so
This was 27.
27, okay.
Wrong, right?
All figures.
Sure.
All right, then all approved, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. I believe that was it for today. Our next meeting is June 19th, 2025. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.